Fire an invite off to Bobby, and we'll get started. For those of you that were not following it, we continued our good results. Bobby hit the 777 last night for 100K, and Rhodey won a big live final seed. So good for both of them. Good that we're continuing to put up good results, and hopefully it trickles down even more to everybody else. Because those are the real success stories. But we are allowed to celebrate Bobby's good fortune yesterday, and good for him. This is my FanDuel. The only thing I haven't built my DraftKings ones yet. Let me close these guys out. I don't want to violate too many copyright laws here. And then I'll do my DraftKings builds in a moment. May as well throw my sheets up there. See what all this looks like. This is basically ranking everybody by my sheet's value score, which kind of combines, points per dollar and kind of raw points. I can't force him to give me anything in the college basketball. Don't know what to tell you. We're still waiting for. Let me just text him as well. Oh, hold on. What was I doing? Oh, I want to text Bobby here. Okay. Yeah, just waiting for Bobby to come on here. Obviously, the whole slate fell apart. It was bad enough where Thaddeus Young was announced to be starting, but now you have all the you also have DeJounte Murray out, so it's not only that he's just starting; it's just all this usage to go around as well. So you have to talk about the San Antonio guys, I suppose. I want to get confirmation about the Hawks. I want to make sure Trae Young is playing. Happy Thad Thursday indeed. I wanted to build some lineups now, just to see what percent of Thad Young I would get. Like if I would literally get 100% of him. Pretty sure that is the case. Oh, there he is. Hey, what's up, Bobby?
What's up, everybody? How's it going?
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, my bad. Yeah, my bad. Just come here for a second. Okay, so DeJounte Murray out. That was the big news that's happened since we got off. We're already talking about having to play maybe Thad Young or the other guy, and now we got you have usage bumps as well. So Thad Young is going to probably, in my first 1 million lineups, probably going to show up. And that's the first bit of free squareness we have to consider, and then probably have to deal with these others. Maybe Derek White's just the best play. I don't know. What are you thinking about the slate so far? I'm still waiting for Trae, by the way. I want that to be confirmed.
Yeah, it's not my favorite thing in the world. And by the way, Levine is in today. For what it's worth. Yeah, I'm having a little trouble with the Spurs because anytime you have like seven viable like plays, and then the like 10 bodies, and especially if it's a pop team, it's a little bit worrisome. So I'm trying to keep it to around 3, and I would like to try to find a way to run it back with Bam, especially then Butler. Maybe mix in a Lowry or a a hero, just because you can play then playing 4 or 5 I think is actually okay if you get the right ones. In order, it's probably White, Vassal, Young, somewhere in that White, Young, Vassal, somewhere in that range. But I don't mind if you want to pivot over to Lonnie Walker, but maybe a slightly lower ownership, slightly lower owned Keldon Johnson. Trey Jones is definitely a possibility. But it's really hard to know with him. I mean, he got a DNP-CD, played 33 minutes the game before that. It is obviously a different situation, and he was good in the minutes he's played, point per dollar for the most part when he's had real run. Decent enough, I should say. It's a terrible matchup. Really like that Rhodey got the bet at 5 earlier, I think, on Miami. I really like Miami tonight, but I'm having trouble figuring out exactly. I think you just got to try and measure it married to a game script. I don't mind if someone wants to take a shot with Josh Primo. That's one way to get a little different and include the Spurs value, because it could end up being a Primo night instead of these other guys. They start off struggling and then it's him or a blowout. There's a lot of ways he could end up getting run over Walker, especially maybe some over White or Vassal or Trey Jones. So I'm just trying to mix it in. I'm probably going to be playing 3 in most of my lineups. That's the way I'm treating that. And unfortunately, they moved the game to earlier, so it doesn't allow me to delay and play some of the later games like I wanted to, because of the weather in San Antonio, which is weird to say out loud. I think the other game, the Minnesota-Detroit game, is very stackable. I'm finding myself with a lot of Towns and a lot of Edwards, and I don't think that's going to be particularly earth-shattering to anybody.
Right.
But I do like that, and I like the idea of running it back with Diallo, Jeremy Grant, or Corey Joseph. But I think you could make a good case for a lot of these guys in large field. I think maybe mix in a Killian Hayes, your guy. Maybe mix in a Frank Jackson instead of some of the value for San Antonio, because I do think this game feels very stackable, that Minnesota game, and I feel like it's forced a little bit more in the other game, the San Antonio Miami game.
Wait, so we're still waiting for confirmation on Cade or no?
He's out.
He is out. Okay.
Yeah. But and no Josh Jackson too, which does open things up more for Diallo. But you have Jeremy Grant back also, who was gone before, so it's a little tricky. And Joseph and Jackson all healthy. So it's interestingly, there is value, but I don't think I mean, 2 or 3 of the Spurs should smash tonight, but I don't think it's obvious which ones. And that's why I said the rankings I had, but I really, you could play a Primo to get off the board. It wouldn't surprise me if Hernan Gomez ended up getting as many minutes as Eubanks, but I think Eubanks is going to be low owned now, and that feels like something I want to take a shot on. So it is frustrating to have to play the first game on the 6-game slate so much. We do have the Levine news, so at least we don't have to worry about that, but we don't have the Trey news yet.
No.
He's going to, but that's just my speculation. I am okay with fading the Phoenix chalky-ish. I think Booker and Chris Paul are going to be pretty popular, and I'd rather play Minnesota, I'd rather play Chicago, and I'd rather play Toronto guys than all of those guys. I still think that weird Lowry or Hero situation could end up being a really a tournament winner if it hits.
Really?
No one's going to play them, and then you put four San Antonio guys on the other side. Take the most popular ones if you're going to play him. It doesn't really matter. Take the ones you feel best about. But it does feel like a sort of a volatile slate for tournaments, where it's very easy to play cash on this slate, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the cash lineup might end up with 4 Spurs, maybe 5.
I think 5 would be probably 4 or 5 would be my guess. Yeah. So keep it to 2 or 3 if you can, but I don't mind if you get to 4, especially if you run it back. Still really like Westbrook tonight, and I like Reggie Jackson a lot, and I think they might be looked at sort of pushed aside. I'm telling you too, don't count out Zubac if he plays. The problem is, if he plays, you're gonna have to have some other pivots available, unless you want to leave 1,000 on the table and play Ibaka, which is fine too.
Like he's currently questionable still.
Yeah,
Zubac.
Yeah,
Okay.
Legit questionable too.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, it's kind of a tough one, and trying to figure it out the best I can. I have the priorities as being, I really like Siakam and Van Vliet, and I like all. They do get a tiny bit of a bump down with Kem Birch likely in tonight, but it's really small. I mean, they're going to play a ton of minutes. I'm fine with going to Anunoby or Scotty Barnes as cheap plays. I feel very comfortable with them at getting having a good shot to get 5x. I know we've seen a couple bad games in a row from Anunoby, and it's a little worrisome, but he does have that ceiling too. So it's doing that how you want to break that down. It's not an easy slate, and I would like to see starting lineups before I make my final decisions. And I know we have the rumored starting lineups for the Spurs, but assuming that is the case, I think the key is maybe instead of playing 3 of those starters, mix in Lonnie Walker, who's going to be a little lower owned, I think, that people think, even though he's going to have ownership. Mix in some Drew Eubanks, who now is going to be lower owned. Mix in some Josh Primo, and then maybe even Hernan Gomez instead of that's the way I would try to get different with it.
Well, Hernan Gomez is going to be that'll be a fun play. Yeah, I mean, it's going to get a 0, but if it doesn't, it's going to get 30.
Right, and it's funny because I feel like the Hernan Gomez boys, this is their range of outcomes.
Yes, exactly.
So going through all that, I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do, because it does feel like a little odd, and I think that this is a slate where I would lean towards trying to get stacks on the secondary side or just some correlation, because realistically, some of these games may blow out, and on these smaller slates, I think that it's a little bit easier to make a case for stacking or mini stacking. I really like Vucevic, even with Levine in, plays well against these guys. It's a good matchup. They don't have an exact regular guy to guard him, so I like Vooch, I like DeRozan, and I like Levine on FanDuel. And then on Toronto, I like everybody, but I like Van Vliet, Siakam the best, followed by Trent. And yeah, I mean, all the games I could make a good case for tonight. And then I'm going to assume De'Aaron Fox is probably going to end up out, which just gives us another thing. I mean, Davion Mitchell's scored 30 every game. Maybe you play him over one of those Spurs guys, Vassell or something like that. I like Halliburton. I don't mind overspending, especially because people aren't going to be able to adjust.
Right.
So that's one thing. If you do play, let's say you play Halliburton, you only have 2 guys in the late games, but you have Halliburton and Zubac, which I actually did in some lineups. And then if Zubac sits, then you switch to Ibaka and Westbrook. So just trying to figure out your swaps like that. I wish I had a really, really hot take of somebody other than the Miami guys, and I think that's pretty thin. But other than the Hero at 0 ownership, the Lowry at 0 ownership, DeAndre Ayton at 0 ownership, all of those guys are definitely in play and no one's going to own them. So maybe just even sprinkling one of those guys into some of your stacks and making it make sense is a good way to go. Also, the projection on Jayla Noel, I don't know what to do with this one. I feel like it's a fade, personally, but I also think he's got upside. It's just really struggling with that because Jordan McLaughlin's been playing minutes, but that's partly been blowout run. But this game could be a blowout. I just don't feel like settled exactly in what I want to do yet. And sometimes that can be a good thing for the latent stuff. And the one thing I do know is that where I'm playing Edwards or Cat, I'm going to try to use those lineups for Diallo, Joseph, and Jeremy Grant. I don't think Diallo is going to be particularly owned, and I think he's got that really immense ceiling that you can kind of hope for. So I do like that play quite a bit as a pivot off of some of San Antonio. But yeah, I feel pretty spread out today, which is not what I was hoping for a 6-game slate. I'm just mixing the San Antonio guys up. Thanks to the people who are saying congrats out there. I think we answered most of the other stuff. The limit on the Spurs players. I think that you can do any of it up to, but at 4 or more, I'm playing Bam or something like that. You know what I mean? Thanks to Project Mayhem. Let's see, 4 Spurs, Towns, Curry, Grant. Yeah, I mean, I don't like the 4 Spurs no run back build personally. I think you're asking for a lot, and I think that it's just feels fishy, doesn't it, Sheets, for a tournament?
Yeah. The other day, I think the winning lineups had either 4 or 5 of those. I forget what that team was, but I don't know. It does feel wrong though.
Well, it's not the same situation though, too. They only had 8 bodies or 9 bodies, but only 7
Right.
guys who actually played regular minutes.
Which,
And it was a close game, and I'm pretty sure there was a run back on the other side of that one. So it actually kind of suits it. Like I just would say forward, you run it back. I just think it's bad fundamentals to get in the habit of doing that,
I
of
agree
playing,
with that.
but maybe there are some exceptions, but the Spurs certainly don't seem like they should be the exception. They feel like they
Right.
should be the rule, like not
Right.
the exception. You know what I'm saying? So I personally am going for the three limit unless I'm running back in Miami, but I don't think it's a must. I just think that's the way I'm going with it. Rhodey put out the lineup out there, and Rhodey apparently is as he crushed it last night. Great job, my man. And apparently you're playing cash games with that first lineup you threw out there, because that is exactly the cash build that's going to happen. You're going to see Spurs, Towns, Curry, Jeremy Grant. I will say that Jeremy Grant's ownership is, I mean, look, there's a range for Jeremy Grant here. It's not like he's going to automatically just smash. I think he's a good play, like just on a, in a vacuum, as people say. But boy, like it does feel kind of weird. Like he's going to have twice the ownership of Sadiq Bey. I don't think that's right. He's going to have, at 2,100. I don't even think it's necessarily, I think Diallo has an excellent chance to outscore him, and he's 4,400. So I feel like the Grant thing, I'm going to have some exposure, but I'm definitely going to be below the field on that play. I'll use Corey Joseph in my like single entry stuff more than I will in my big buy-in, my large field stuff. Just talking.
Why do you say that? Why does Corey Joseph inspire that? You know what I mean?
He's steady and doesn't always need to flash a ceiling. They don't necessarily need everything from him, but I feel good about him getting 25-ish fantasy points tonight. Now he can hit a ceiling. But there's Frank Jackson there too. It could be Diallo running the point, which we've seen before. They've got Sadiq Bey and Grant to score the ball. They've got Isaiah Stewart healthy now. Olynyk can do a lot offensively. So there's a lot of reasons why he doesn't make a lot of sense as an extreme upside play. Now, can he hit it against Minnesota? Sure. But does he have to play a million minutes? No. I mean, it could be the Frank Jackson time. If he could pick up 2 quick fouls, and next thing you know, Frank Jackson is leading the charge, or a blowout or something. So I just don't think I like him better. Like I'm playing a big buy-in, 1,500. That's like I guess I don't know if it's single entry actually. It's either 2. Maybe you can enter twice or whatever. But
and DraftKings or FanDuel?
DraftKings. It's only like 70 players. That's the kind of tournament I would use Corey Joseph in versus a large field tournament. But if you're going to be stacking the game fully, I don't mind using him as a part of that stack. But I would play him with Jeremy Grant, Diallo, Stewart, or Bey. In that lineup, or maybe even the very thin, the guy who no one's going to play, but just randomly puts up 45 and 20 minutes sometimes is Kelly Olynyk.
Yes, he does.
He can do it. I mean, he's got the ability to, and especially with these other guys out, maybe like on FanDuel, I think he's going to get played at 4,500, but I don't know if he's going to get played at all on DraftKings by the end of it. And I think he's a really interesting tournament option. I wish I could have him as a potential late pivot later on, but I just don't have that. Oh yeah, Rhodey, I was just kidding around with you, man. I didn't realize that's what you said it was a cash build, but I just thought it was funny because I was like, yeah, that's the perfect cash build. I mean, literally, I had all the guys in my notes who just were like, okay, what are they going to do in cash? And you literally said the exact thing that I thought. I'm finding myself off of like, you know what? I'll have Curry in a lineup or two. On FanDuel, it's kind of hard to avoid having some of them at 9,300. Yeah. But I don't think you should be prioritizing him, in my opinion, for tournaments, especially at high ownership, especially in a game they should win by leaps. Like even if he gets 60 or 55, like you're still okay. I actually like Towns. Towns actually is as the better situation in a way because there's really no one, it's only Edwards for him to contend with without Russell there. The matchup is unbelievable for both of them, but I still have that feeling that this is going to be the Klay Thompson has a big night kind of game. So that's something else that I would mix that I'm definitely mixing into a number of tournaments. All right. Let's see. Any other questions? I'm going to be gone in probably 10 minutes, guys. Let's see. Derek White or Reggie on FanDuel. If your lineup is really chalky, I would go Reggie. I actually think it's closer than maybe most people do, but the answer is definitely White. It's just as the better expected play, but you're going to get, Reggie Jackson at like 5% on FanDuel probably. So I actually love the idea of playing Reggie Jackson on FanDuel and DraftKings. I really like Reggie Jackson tonight. And again, former teammates, a little extra thing to get them going. The Lakers got a win under their belts, get a little, maybe Westbrook gets a little bit going. You know what I mean? I could see, so I like the Westbrook and Reggie combo. In fact, I have that in my biggest buy-in tournament right now. What other guys? Thoughts on David? LeBron is out. I like Davis, but I like Westbrook a little bit better. That's where I've got him ranked currently. They're both good plays, though. Westbrook, maybe more so on FanDuel. I guess Westbrook stands out, but like I like both those guys, and I will play every narrative I can get in the NBA because they literally, cheats. The amount of times they work versus they don't. It's like if they don't work and the guy goes like 3 for 20 and he averages 10 shots a game, that's working to me. That means
that's correct. That's correct.
It looks like Crowder and Ayton are in.
You getting any Me Too?
That would be another one you could use as a pivot. I did initially, but then when I reran everything because of all these guys who are out, I had to change it. But I think it's fine. I think it's a long shot play. He can get there. He can have big games. He can also do absolutely nothing. It's really hard to know with that guy. It's just a huge range of outcomes also.
So just to let everybody know what I'm doing on DraftKings. I have Thad Young currently in all my lineups, and next highest guy I have is both Derek White and Trey Jones. Those are the two top San Antonios. Then after that, I have Vassell. As far as like non-Spurs, it's a lot of the guys that Bobby mentioned. Westbrook and Towns. You could play 3 of these guys together. You want to play Westbrook and Towns and Booker or somebody like that. You could do that. And Anthony Edwards. I got a bunch of him, like 40%. Why not? And then again, nothing. Again, who I have more of than I thought I would? The Drew Eubanks, actually.
Yeah, I think that's a good play. And I think it's a better play without him starting.
Yeah.
It does. Because you're talking about him. He was going to be 50, 60% owned. Now he's going to be like, what, 15 to 20? What do you think he's going to be?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So I think and also like, look, Bam is going to play a lot of minutes, but when Bam's not, it's better for him to get some minutes while Bam is not in. He doesn't have to use up all of his fouls right away.
Right.
So I like that. Assuming that he doesn't start. And again, we don't have it official. We just have the word from Pop, what he said.
Right.
Want to mention something else? I have a lot of people who started DMing me, asking me, literally just asking for money. I was like, what? Is this what happens now? Like, do people really do that? I've seen people do it in poker. I have a story to tell probably on a day where we're not doing a show or something like this. But a guy who won the LAPC and knocked me out with, I don't know, it was 30 something to go. It was my first WPT event. And he didn't see me sitting down behind him with like, we were 1 and 2 in chips in the tournament and it had just heaps. And he shoved after a guy opened under the gun he shoved for like 300 big blinds. It was something ridiculous. We had just absurd stuff. And I looked down at aces and he's got ace queen off and he just was like trying to isolate because everybody else had a short stack at the table. Yeah. He just forgot. He goes on to win the tournament and he gave one of the guys watching him 40,000. He tried. We were in Vegas, play the next thing. He brings 50,000 in cash to the blackjack table. He's like, "This is yours." I said, "There's no way in the world I can take this. Like, there's just no wrong." You know what I mean?
Right.
And I didn't take it. I flash forward, I probably would have taken it.
Right.
Anyway, that was just a funny thing. It reminded me of. I'll leave the guy's name out of it, but you guys can look at LAPC winners.
That's true.
No, I'm not playing. I'm not really playing any CP3 or Booker tonight. I'll probably have like 1 or 2 shares of each of them. I don't see this as being. Look, if they weren't going to be owned, I'd be talking about them nonstop. But the fact that they're going to be chalky, and everybody's like, oh, but look, the other night, look, they still had big games even with Ayton in them back. I'm just going, you know what? Give me somebody who's got a reason that they need somebody to score. Like Booker can go off here, so Booker would be the one I would play. Chris Paul is a really good play, but like there's just other plays who are going to be lower owned, who are cheaper, who I actually think will outscore those guys. Unless Booker has one of the crazy Booker 50 real life point games, which is always
those aren't. I think Booker sold that part of his game in the quest for a championship.
No, he did it a couple times this year. He had like 46 and 48.
Okay,
I think. He had 43 last week, 48 right before that. So he does still have it in him, but he just you're right though. He doesn't do it as much as he used to. Sorry, we're having just a quick site thing.
Bryson DeChambeau has been offered $135 million to become the face of the rumored Saudi Super League.
What do they mean? Oh, if they're like to
compete with the PGA or something.
Sorry, guys, we're having a couple site issues here that I'm trying to take care of.
Oh shit!
It's good. I mean, people are signing up, but that's the problem. Is that there's a few technical things that we're trying to work out the kinks on.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Let's see, any questions in here? The Hawks are bad against shooting guard. Yes, they are.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot better things to find on slates like this when you got guys who are chalky. You've got to play game theory more than you've got to play individual matchup.
Sam STU, I'll take this. I would not. Oh, you already talked about this. I definitely wouldn't play both of those together, Booker and Chris Paul.
Only if you're stacking the game, and even then, I think it's really, really thin. Like, I mean, there's guys with, I mean, it's way harder for either of those guys than Cat or even Edwards to get 70. It's easier for those guys to get Cat and Edwards to get set like near 70 than it is these guys because they have all their bodies back. And they're going to play their game. They're going to play to win basketball games and not try to go completely nutso all the time. Yeah. This is not going to happen. All right. Let's see what else. Is there anything?
No, Greg Popovich
from Dunbar was FanDuel doesn't really. There's not really much of a difference for me today, to be honest with you. Like, there's a few different spots. I think Levine is a better play over there, but he's not going to be that popular anyway. He's certainly not a must-have. Anthony Davis is maybe more necessity over there. But it's all the same guys I mentioned throughout the show. It's, probably 3 Spurs in tournaments and probably, it's the priorities would be White, Vassell, and Dad with Anthony Davis probably as the best cash game he plays. But I think those are all good guys to include in tournaments. You just find other places you can get a little different.
I got some cool little funny business plays on FanDuel. I mean, not big buys or anything, but I'm getting like Amir Coffee.
Yeah, I like Amir Coffee. I actually think he's fine on both sides too.
But these are like some weird ones. I'm getting some PJ Tucker is littered throughout this. I mean, if I'm going to have this other chalk, may as well have something that's has no chance.
Yeah, I like all of that. I don't think that the Sonmu, I don't think he'll be out. I guess he's going to be a little bit lower on now because of all this other stuff.
And then, as usual, my big 48% Me Too at center. So that'll be.
Oh, interesting.
We'll see.
You know what you can use as a really weird play over there if you want to get funny is Javonte Green.
What position?
On FanDuel. No, I'm sorry, I gotta get the thing right. I thought he was small forward over there, but I was looking at a DraftKings thing. FanDuel, Javonte Green. Javonte Green is on the ball. No, he's 4,500. Never mind. He's a little more expensive over there.
Okay.
I had him originally on DraftKings in my lineups, but he's not as good as the other value probably is going to be. Also, mix in some Kennard tonight. That guy can always get hot. He keeps putting up 40 fantasy point games.
Yeah, he's got big eyes on his picture on FanDuel, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go finish up my lineups. Good luck tonight, Cheats. Good luck, everybody. And I actually like one last thing. X Factor is Wiggins and off the wall play. Yes, those are the kind of plays I feel very supportive of tonight. Just trying to take a guy who maybe it doesn't make the most sense, but it's a great way to get a little bit different. And I think that's a very, very solid play over a guy like Keldon Johnson, for example. Good luck to everybody. Great talking with everybody, and I'll see you in Discord.
Yeah, sorry. So those are the funny business plays I came up with on FanDuel. DraftKings in the NBA tonight. I'll throw a couple of hoodoos out there. Let's see if any of these guys are particularly weird. No, not really. I'm really kind of a little bit too chalky tonight, but it is what it is. Butler, he's going to be on Zubac, some of that. Yeah, I got to redo this. I'm pretty sure I have too much Drew Eubanks, but I think it's I still think it's pretty good. Anthony Edwards. I have some lines with Edwards and Towns in them together, which is might not look normal, but I think that's what you need on some slates like this. I have a little Isaiah Stewart. It's kind of gazing through. 50% Grant. So nothing is particularly deserving of winning like a big GPP in any of my lineups. Want to know the truth? Maybe I'll just do another run with it. And I don't know if the games got canceled or whatever, but I was unable to really access a lot of hockey data tonight. But I see that they're playing, but I don't know for whatever reason. Oh, is this a thing? It's like an All-Star game or something? Oh, okay. I don't know what's going on. Featured 2 games. No, it's supposedly 2 regular games. I just can't get any data on it. Sorry about that. I don't know what it is. Just my usual feeds are just not coming in. Can't get any sheets at all for. I don't know if the games were canceled or something. I don't know. Probably. Shows what I know. I did a MMA preview video. Should be a pretty good card on Saturday. What's on Monday, Tim? Oh, is that the hockey you mean? You're right. You're totally right. Wow. I was wondering. I'm like, what's going on? I feel bad too. That wasn't able to get any data. I'm like, what's going on? Thank you, Timothy. That you solved the riddle. Let me see. Why does this whole Drew Eubanks play seem weird? I guess it's fine. Wiggins, no, I don't like that. What else is going on? I think there might be a NASCAR race this weekend. Looking forward to that. Oh, and if you guys really want to, I mean, this is again, I don't know if you caught this, but I did an interview with Will Patterson, who goes as W1L on Twitter and on DFS. He's if not the best, one of the best Counter-Strike DFS players out there, and he does actually projections and data for SaberSim. And I had him on today, talking to him about Counter-Strike as a DFS game and his some other views in general, and really super sharp kid. I encourage you to watch that on our site and on YouTube. And what was interesting, I can't even play. I can't even play Counter-Strike anyway. Okay. Block. Right. So there might be a NASCAR thing this weekend. I'll probably end up having to play Showdown on Sunday in golf because, well, we'll see. I mean, it's a 3-day cut, so I can delude myself into thinking I'm off to a decent start, even if I might not be. So that's a good thing, I guess. Tennis continues to press on. Hockey, I guess, on Monday, and tomorrow we'll be back. So if there are no other questions, I am going to cut out. You have what? Oh, you have 5,000 game time in Counter Strike. All right. Well, we'll